Have you ever walked into a room full of people and still felt completely alone? Have you ever looked around and thought, why is it so easy for everyone else and so hard for me? If you have, you're not alone. Okay, but it sure feels like you are, doesn't it? And what if I told you that making friends isn't about being the most outgoing, the funniest, or the most interesting person in the room, but about something far more powerful, something quietly hidden inside you that almost no one ever teaches you to find? What if the ability to attract real, meaningful friendships was already within you, just buried under layers of self-doubt, old wounds, and forgotten truths about who you really are? Most people think friendships are built through luck, charisma, or shared interests, but that's not the whole truth. There is something else, something deeper, and once you understand this hidden truth, your world begins to shift. The silence becomes connection, the loneliness becomes understanding, and the fear of not being enough starts to fade. Because making friends isn't just about finding people, it's about finding yourself and knowing how to let the world see the real, unfiltered you, the version you've been hiding, maybe for years. There's a secret I need to share with you. A psychological truth that changes everything about how you see relationships, connection, and belonging. A truth that can break the cycle of isolation and open the door to the kind of friendships that heal, uplift, and stay. And over the next few minutes, you'll discover exactly what that truth is. We'll explore why so many people feel invisible even in crowds. We'll dive into the invisible habits that push people away and the subtle shifts that pull the right ones closer. We'll talk about confidence, vulnerability, social energy, and the quiet power of presence. And you'll see that you are not broken. Now, you've just been carrying a map that leads you in the wrong direction, but not anymore. By the end of this video, you'll have something most people never get: clarity, tools, and a new sense of hope. So take a deep breath. This might be the beginning of the friendships you've been waiting for. I used to think loneliness came from a lack of people. I'd see groups laughing, talking, sharing inside jokes, and I'd wonder what I was doing wrong. I had people around me, classmates, co-workers, even acquaintances who'd say hi, but still, I felt invisible. It was like everyone else got a manual on how to connect, and I'd missed the class. But one day, something small and kind of painful changed everything. I was walking home and saw two people I knew talking at a cafe. They didn't see me and I didn't say hi. I kept walking, not because I didn't want to say hello, but because a voice in my head whispered, "They don't really like you." That voice, that one inner sentence, opened a door I didn't know existed. I realized my loneliness wasn't caused by being alone. It was being caused by the stories I was telling myself when I was alone. Stories like, I'm not interesting enough. No one really wants to be around me. I always say the wrong thing, and the most damaging one of all. If I show them the real me, they'll leave. That day, I understood something vital. The distance between me and friendship wasn't filled with people. It was filled with fear. Fear of being judged. Fear of rejection. Fear of not being enough. And that fear, it doesn't just sit quietly. It shows up in your body language, your tone, the way you speak, the way you avoid eye contact, the way you hold back. It's like walking around with an invisible "do not approach" sign over your head, and then wondering why no one comes closer. That realization was hard, but it was also freeing. Because if my thoughts had the power to isolate me, then changing those thoughts could reconnect me. You don't need to be perfect to make friends. You don't need to be the funniest or the most talkative or the most confident. You just need to believe that your presence matters, that your voice is worthy, that being seen isn't something you have to earn, it's something you deserve by being real. From that moment on, I started changing the question from, why doesn't anyone like me, to, what version of myself am I letting them see? And slowly, things began to change. Not instantly, but deeply. And that's what I want for you. Because the truth is, you don't have to be someone else to make friends. You just have to stop hiding who you already are. You might not realize this, but every day with every interaction, you're speaking a silent language. Not with words, but with energy, with presence, with attention. And this language, it determines whether people feel safe around you or guarded, whether they open up or shut down. The mistake most people make when trying to make friends is focusing too much on what to say. When the truth is, connections start with what you're willing to feel. Let me explain. Have you ever been around someone who truly listens, like fully? Someone who doesn't interrupt, doesn't rush, doesn't wait for their turn to talk, but just receives you? That kind of presence is rare, but it's magnetic, because the deepest friendships aren't built on entertainment or shared hobbies. They're built on emotional safety. People don't remember what you said. They remember how they felt when they were around you. So if you want to make friends, don't chase charm, cultivate presence. Don't chase the perfect sentence. Offer your full attention. Don't try to impress, try to understand. Most people walk through the world half distracted, half defensive. But when someone comes along who is fully there, it feels like water in a desert. You don't have to be loud. You don't have to be the life of the party. You just have to be someone others feel seen. Let me give you something practical. Something I wish someone had told me earlier. Whenever you're in a conversation, instead of thinking, how can I make them like me? Try this. How can I make them feel safe to be themselves? When people feel safe, they connect. And here's the twist. The more you offer that to others, the more you feel it for yourself. You stop pretending. You stop performing. You just be. And that's when real friendships start forming. Because friendship isn't something you force. It's something that happens when two people feel safe enough to take off their masks. And that starts with you. Your energy introduces you before you speak. Make sure it says, I see you. You matter. You're safe here. Because when people feel that from you, they'll want to stay. There's a wound many of us carry, even if we don't talk about it. It's the quiet ache that comes from being misunderstood for so long that you start to believe maybe you were never meant to belong anywhere at all. I know what that feels like. To walk into a group, try your best to fit in, shape shift a little here, silence yourself a little there, only to leave feeling even more alone than when you arrived. It's a special kind of loneliness, the kind that comes not from isolation, but from hiding in plain sight. And when you live like that long enough, you start to believe two dangerous lies. Maybe I'm just too much. Maybe I'm just not enough. But what if I told you neither of those things were ever true? What if the problem wasn't you, but the room you were in? You see, trying to make friends in the wrong room is like trying to bloom in soil that was never meant to hold your roots. You withhold your real thoughts to avoid judgment. You laugh at things that don't really make you laugh. You agree when you want to disagree, just to be liked. And then, when you still don't feel seen, you blame yourself. But let me offer you a radical reframe. You are not too much. You are not enough. You are just not for everyone. And that is not a flaw. That is freedom. Because the right people, the real friends, they don't make you shrink. They don't reward you for pretending. They don't need you to filter your light so they feel more comfortable. They want your honesty, your weirdness, your heart. And those people, you find them when you stop trying to be liked by everyone and start being fully yourself. Even if it means walking away from rooms that don't feel like home. Sometimes loneliness is a signal, not that something's wrong with you, but that you've outgrown where you are. It's life nudging you to stop settling for tolerance and start searching for resonance. And when you find it, when you finally meet people who see you and still stay, not despite your truths, but because of them, something in you heals. And the friendships you build from that place, they don't just fill your time, they fill your soul. So if you've been walking through life feeling like a misfit, maybe it's not because you don't belong. Maybe it's because you're meant to lead others home. And it all starts when you stop asking, how can I fit in? And start asking, where do I feel free? Because in that space, real friendship grows. If you've made it this far, I need you to hear something important, something I wish someone had told me a long time ago. You are not broken. You are not too quiet, too intense, too awkward, or too emotional. You are not missing the pieces required to connect. You've just been taught to look outside of yourself when the key has been within you all along. Making friends, real ones, isn't about becoming someone else. It's about remembering who you are before the world convinced you that you had to change to be loved. And if you stayed with me until the end of this journey, that says something powerful about you. It means you're ready. Ready to let go of the masks. Ready to stop waiting for someone to choose you and start choosing yourself. Ready to take the first brave step toward the kind of connections that don't fade, don't judge, and don't require you to hide. You're not just watching a video. You're healing a part of yourself that got left behind. You're giving yourself permission to be seen, truly seen, maybe for the first time in years. And that takes courage. Most people won't do this work. They'll keep performing, pretending, and wondering why they still feel alone. But not you. You stayed, and that makes you part of a rare group. People brave enough to look inward, to confront their fears, and to believe that something better is possible. So if no one has said it lately, I'm proud of you. Not for being perfect, but for being honest. And now, I want to leave you with a phrase, a small promise to yourself. If you made it to the end, type it in the comments as your silent declaration to the world. I will no longer hide who I am to be loved. Because the right people, the real friends, they're not looking for a perfect version of you. They're looking for you. And you're finally ready to let them find you. Now sit with this silence for just a moment. Let it echo in your heart. Let it anchor what you've just learned. Don't rush. Don't click away too fast, because something sacred happens when you finally stop running from yourself.